Learning Spaces Collaboratory YouTube series is an opportunity to present stories from the LSC community about planning that focuses on the future of 21st century learning spaces for 21st century learners.
Hello, everyone. I am with Texas A&M University, and what you see in front of it is a very, very large campus. My approach to today is really to provide a good context on how important it is to embed learning spaces within the broader campus-wide strategic approach. As I mentioned previously, I had the honor of being co-chair together with a campus architect, the one that Valley mentioned, and it was an eye-opening experience. The guidance that we got from the president is we're going to do an update. The previous master plan had been developed in 2004, then it had been district defining. In other words, the campus was creating a lot of little kingdoms, and the new president did not like those kingdoms. So instead of going into district, let's rethink this whole thing. So in that master plan, the guidance from the president was actually quite critical. And I would like to point your attention to the following. One of the strategic imperatives for the president is transformational learning. So what the campus as a whole needs to do is to acknowledge formally and explicitly that it transforms exceptional young people into citizens of substance, citizens whose contributions shine across the state of Texas. We're a land-grant university, but also in terms of across the planet, and that's part of our research Tier 1 mission. Another important element is that it acknowledges in a very formal way that the sense of place is, in every sense of the word, important. And they focused on reimagining how our physical environment contributes to our intellectual advancement. And the goal has been to enhance the student experience. I could talk about all the investments in the last few years, but I selected two, and on purpose, the A for agriculture and the E for engineering, which is what M used to be for Texas A&M. So the first one is one example of something that in both cases had been incubating before the master plan was completed, but it was completely aligned with that. So the first one is called the Leach Teaching Gardens. This is phase one, 7 acres of a total 45-acre restoration of an old creek. And it is being spearheaded by agriculture and life sciences. And the Leach Teaching Gardens is a tremendous learning space that you would not associate with a normal classroom, because these are all the elements that go in there. Each one of these are specific features. As you can see, it has vineyards, it has citizens, that people in the community can walk through them. So it's an attraction now. It has farms, it has pavilions, it has garden walks. It is really a very diverse element. So this is the first one. You never think of the open spaces as learning spaces, but it's very important for our president to actually make that happen. So each one of these has very distinct features. I would argue that if we were to look at each one of those squares, highlighting one of the features of the gardens, it's the equivalent of one classroom in one building with very specific programmatic requirements. But this, I have to say, we're very pleased that students from the College of Architecture contributed to these by doing in our highly ranked landscape architecture program. They were the ones that developed the conceptual designs for this. And this is a very large philanthropic effort. That's why it's named, and everything in there is ready for, you want to donate for the rose garden, you want to donate for the butterflies, whatever it may be. The second example is more traditional in the sense it's a big building. It's a building that has 525,000 square feet. That building is the largest one on campus at this moment. That is called the Zachry Engineering Education Complex. So Zachry Engineering Building was an existing engineering building, a rectangular, traditional old building. I don't even know when it was built. And they decided that they wanted to keep part of it. So they decided to do adaptive reuse in a way that I had never seen. They kept some parts of the old one and wrapped this whole new one around it. But I could talk about this for a long time. Now, why would I know so much about this is because engineering and architecture actually are collaborating since the last few years in ventures. And that's something I really want to emphasize. When you are able to walk in another college's shoes, wear other colleges' hats, it strengthens the whole ecosystem of what a campus can be. So this is a video I'm going to narrate as we go along. It's available in YouTube. If you just do 25 features, Zachry, and it's spelled Zachry, not with an A. And that is a firm here in San Antonio, Zachry Construction. Very large, tremendous contributors, very strong members of the community, and they allow A&M. So they created one as a total active learning environment. So I selected some of these features to underscore and highlight some of the things that we have been talking about. Huddle rooms, group studies. We're talking about all kinds of features for group study, team collaboration. One of the elements here is that it's totally student-centered. It's already open. They don't have desks. They have technology tables. These tables are movable. They can be reconfigured. They have all types of technologies in here. In fact, no faculty can teach here unless they have been certified in a technology course that they have to take. That creates backlash from some traditional sages on the stage, but it's part of this growing up. So it's about learning technologies. It's not just about, computer screens, hardware and software, but these are active learning studios and also learning labs. They have a very strong culture of multidisciplinary hands-on learning laboratory space. They have more than multiplied the makerspace that they used to have. And the facility can be used very efficiently, all kinds of labs. It includes the outside. Say I have been developing an engineering quad. That's part of their identity, but it's not a district, but it's part of their identity. And they have a park-like area. So never underestimate the fact that seating, green space, Wi-Fi everywhere. It's ubiquitous in there. These are learning stairs. Even the stairs are places where students are starting to hang out. That seems to be a trend in some new buildings. And whether you want to be up to class or just sit and study, it's a welcoming environment for everyone. There are green roofs, decks up there. Like I mentioned previously, it has a huge Starbucks that is one of the largest ones in the nation. So it's living as a student, as a human being, in an environment where they are continuously learning. The space is unbelievable. In fact, a good anecdote is I was touring this space with members of the business school that are trying their own expansion. And one of their faculty said, "You know what I see here?" I said, "No, tell me." "A lot of wasted space." And you go to their building, and their building has very narrow corridors. You don't have students hanging out anywhere. So it's a cultural thing that college by college has. Furniture is very integral to all kinds of things. This is almost like a department store of furniture in terms of doing that. They're color coordinated by different floors. Collaboration spaces are ubiquitous. Another element here is something that we don't associate with learning, and that is art. They did a tremendous investment in art all over the whole facility. Talking about green and blue and yellow and orange. Well, actually, the only color they cannot have is orange because that's UT Austin. Art, this is an example of art. All the art reflects engineering. The art is engineering based. They have big pieces. They have pieces that are electronic sensors. Engineering is art. So you also have meetings. Some spaces are multi-purpose. Two things are not in the video include career training, advising, and it also includes tutoring, and it also includes spaces for student groups and organizations. They have a very specialized design center, and that design center is like the ultimate playground for studios. They have robots, they have lasers, all kinds of cutters. Safety is great. Now, one thing is breaking the rules on how you teach. They have pop-up courses that students take, non-credit, non-mandatory. It's part of the fee they place there. And these are very popular courses. They have their own technology support center and software and hardware technology. So what you see in here is just an example of the opposite of scale. Sometimes I think it's just too much. The budget was close to $200 million, but it's part of their reach and outreach. Engineering has been very aggressive on the campus. And just imagine having to design a learning space for 25,000 students by the year 2025. That's how many students are in engineering. So the outdoors, the indoors, it creates an environment that is welcoming. And basically with this, I just want to say thank you. It's just a little glimpse, but I personally am a little bit envious of that, and we are in our own process of expanding our building. But I think that the lessons that are learned and shared with this, it's not on the bragging side, but I think it's really transforming engineering education, which is not the easiest thing to transform.
We invite you to visit the LSC website for further stories from the field about the process of planning, of focusing on users in the context of focusing on the future for learning and learning spaces. Our website provides links to national reports that are major resources for planners at all stages of attending to spaces that matter, a portfolio of spaces that work, and collections of essays about audacious questions for planning that go beyond current practice. Information about upcoming activities related to learning spaces within the broader LSC community is also posted. The LSC is for and by the LSC community. Join us.